Hi friends, it's Carly and I'm back again with another review. So we finally made it through the Age of Apocalypse figures and we are on to our Sugar Man bath. Before I get to that, I just want to remind you guys to please make sure you subscribe to my channel and turn on the notifications bell. I'm going to go back on a much more relaxed schedule than the one we've been doing with videos every single day and sometimes twice a day, just to give us time to actually process the videos that we're watching. So after I finish this, I'm going to take a couple of days off and then we'll start on our next series. If you follow me on Facebook at Annoying You with Friendship, you will know what that series is. If not, it's a surprise. And then I also have a Walgreens exclusive Moon Knight figure that I'm going to be going over in the next few days as well. So because of my job, I don't know exactly when those videos are going to start to post up. So please make sure you're subscribed and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss anything that I do. With all of that said, let's get right into Sugar Man. This figure is impressive. Look, he's actually bigger than my head. He's huge. He's heavy, he's gigantic, and hideously ugly as well. So, for those of you who have been following my Sugar Man bath review series, my first Sugar Man bath piece that came with Jean Grey, which is the head portion here, actually came with one of the socket joints installed inside out. So, if you look on this side, you can see that the socket joint here is an inverted cone. It's the same on these two arms, and this bottom one was installed with the narrowest portion out, so I couldn't put the arms on my Sugar Man. But luckily, I got these through Big Bad Toy Store, and I reached out to them via email with photographs, and it took like 4 days for them to get me a replacement part for this, so it did not hold me up on doing my reviews. So I'm super grateful for that, and I highly recommend working with BBTS. This series, for whatever reason, maybe I ordered a little bit too late, took forever for me to get, but I have not been having that experience with any of my other figures with them, and their customer service on this piece when I got a defective part was above and beyond stellar. So thanks to BBTS for taking such great care of me on these. So let's just look at this behemoth wackadoo figure that we finally got assembled. So I'll tell you a little bit about what I know about Sugar Man. He ran the Seattle Corps during Age of Apocalypse, which was a slave camp, and he has some really weird abilities. So he can change his body mass and density, meaning he can actually change the weight and the hulk of his body, but he can also make himself huge or tiny. So in Age of Apocalypse, I know that he uses the ability to make himself smaller, to travel to other places and sort of, I don't know, manipulate his position. But that is one of the abilities that he has. He also has this disgusting tongue, which is really awesome looking on this figure, that he can shoot up to 10 feet and make dense enough that it actually functions as another weapon besides his 4 crazy gigantic arms. He carries this mallet that says sugar on it, which is, as accessories go, really heavy. He also is reported to have a very heightened sense of smell that will allow him to smell fear. So all in all, if this guy, who is 6'9", by the way, can smell your fear, he's definitely not someone you want to be on the bad side of. And it seems like everybody is on his bad side. So this figure is really sort of meant to be like more of a shock stunner. I think just because of his weird, everything about him is just so weird. And I think that that definitely comes off. So his face is like a terrifying carnival ride, nightmare haunted mansion. He's got all these rows and rows of terrifying sharp pointy teeth with that tongue coming out. When I found out that the tongue can shoot out 10 feet and attack people, that makes his tongue even creepier and more disgusting. I love the way that they sculpted it though. I think that it really just, you know, when you're creating this is almost a horror character to me, like this, it's like go big or go home, you know, there's no room for subtlety with a character like this. So I think that with, you know, all of the crazy things about him, his 4 arms, the fact that his head is basically his body, I think that it's, you know, his horns and everything, best to just like make everything ostentatious and over the top. And this figure definitely succeeds in that respect. He has these fluorescent orange glowing eyes. I mean, we have to agree. Now, I don't have a great way to show you this. I need to work on this in my setup. I need to have a pedestal or something. But you can see that his legs are basically just normal large frame legs that we would see with many of our other large frame figures, maybe a little bit larger, but not much. And they actually sustain this body. So as crazy as he looks with his huge upper body, and these arms are really heavy, so he is incredibly top heavy, but these legs and feet actually do sustain him. So he is actually able to stand, which I can't show very well. I'll get a pedestal so that I can do that in the future, but he is very sturdy. I do have an issue with one of the legs not fitting great. It doesn't really, there's a gap, so it doesn't really fit together perfectly, but that's not affecting the way that he stands, and you can sort of turn it so that it's not as noticeable. Once I got my replacement part, I put this figure together right away, and everything fits the way that it's supposed to. All of these arms articulate the way that we always expect our arms to. With biceps, double jointed elbows that you can see here. He's got great hands and wrists that turn. And these hands move, oops, I popped his hand off. The hands move forward and back as well. So let's see, it's kind of hard to focus on just the hands, but they do move forward a little bit and back a little bit. I guess they're just going to keep popping off. He does have this band right here that is sort of preventing that from happening, but you do get a little click of movement there. I don't know if you can see that. There's one forward and one back. So the articulation on the arms is great. Obviously, we're not going to have any head articulation or turning or anything like that. He does have a fully functional 360-degree turning waist. It's just a little difficult to see under this harness that he wears, which is like a suspender and belt combined with a little loop here that you can put his hammer into. So he's got that. You can put that on his hip. Then he's got double jointed knees. These are difficult though, because you can see how fatty his thighs and his calves are, and these don't work really all that well. This is pretty much what you get when you bend those, but you need his stance wide and flat to make him stand up. Like I said, he does stand on these legs, but you really do have to take advantage of sort of that like superhero wide-legged stance with flat feet in order to get him, maybe with like the toes turned out a little bit, to get all of the base covered that you possibly can. His feet do the toe point. And then I don't think that they turn, oh no, they do. So then they'll just go flat like this. Sorry, this figure is so big, it's hard for me to manipulate in front of the camera. He's so bulky. And then we have the rolling ball and socket ankle joint. So getting him together and seeing him on a shelf, he is very impressive to look at. I mean, you can see how gigantic he is. His wingspan is as broad as my entire body from shoulder to shoulder, and his head is actually as big as my head almost. So he's gigantic and really impressive. And when you look at the value, so I'm one who really looks for value and wants to feel like I'm getting my money's worth. And a lot of these figures were really disappointing for me at $20 a pop. I felt like a lot of things could have been done a lot better. But when you take those figures and then you get a Build-A-Fig like this sort of built into them, it makes me reassess the value overall and feel like this guy is impressive enough. He functions the way that he's supposed to. It was a journey to get him, and usually Build-A-Figs are a really fun experience for me. So I feel like the Sugar Man himself improves the value over all of the entire line. He's as impressive as you would hope for him to be. He's very creepy, and he's a highly articulate, impressive looking figure. So all said and done, I end up being really happy with this bath, which makes me happier with the series than I was overall. Let's just take a slightly closer look one last time before we close this out. The sculpt on this is really impressive, you guys. Hasbro really did work on making him fully detailed and giving him just a really great scary look. And a lot of source material that I saw for Sugar Man, this is exactly what he looks like in AOA, but there's other source material of him not looking as cool as this figure. So I feel like they captured it perfectly and they made the most of how wild this character looks. And I'm really happy to have him, even though, you know, Age of Apocalypse, it was kind of disappointing as a story for me, and I was disappointed in a lot of the figures. I am not disappointed with this bath. And at the end of the day, this being the biggest part of why I even got the series to begin with, that improves the whole experience for me, so I'm really happy. So that is the end of this very long, long-awaited series. And I just want to know what you guys think about everything. What do you think about the figures on the whole? What do you think about Sugar Man? Are you working on this? Are you going to try to get just the bath pieces, or are you going to try to pick up the figures and build them yourself? These, I imagine, are popping up in stores a lot more now. We're moving on to other series. Are you going to keep trying to seek them out, or are you going to order them as they become available again? Tell me everything. I am super ultimately very happy about my experience building this. I think I was able to develop a lot more of a sound idea of what's important to me with figures, because a lot of these just didn't meet the mark for me, and it made me reassess and reevaluate what I'm looking for in my collectibles and to be able to determine what I want to spend my money on and what I don't. So this will be a really great milestone for me as far as what I continue to do for my reviews and the types of figures that I'm picking up. So thank you guys so much for watching all of these videos. I'm so appreciative. We made it a crazy whirlwind, but you stuck with me and you kept the comments coming in, and I'm really appreciative for everybody watching. Let me know what you think of your Sugar Man, and stay tuned. I will be back the day after tomorrow, which will be Friday, with the first video in our next series. Yeah, we're gonna start our next series. So we're gonna take a day off, and then I'll be back on Friday. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will be back with another one soon. Bye, friends.